Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Daily HiFi podcast. What is going on? I'm here again with Michael and Joe and our special guest, David. How is everyone doing today?
Oh, awesome.
What's going on, fellas?
It's a great day.
Doing great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks for being on, man.
Thank you so much. Yes.
David, what's your official title over there? I think I saw it on
they
LinkedIn.
gave me a really fun title. I was going for head of biz dev or something like that. And they came back and go, no, you know a lot about music. You really, you talk about music all the time. We're going to call you Chief High Res Music Evangelist. And I'm going, seriously?
You're like, what?
How about like a real title? And they're going, no, man, this is great. This is fantastic. Now, this, of course, is all being, translated loosely from French.
Oh, okay.
So, so I am the Chief High Res Music Evangelist, and I'm here to heal you.
There you go.
Heal you from your low res of the MP3.
There you go.
Very nice. So we got people coming into the chat. You might want to, Michael, you want to say what's up to everybody?
All right, guys. Who we got in here? We got Tristan Jones. What's going on, brother? Hannah. We got Optimus Vader, of course. Lots of folks. Angela is in the house. We always got the female representing. Love
That's
that.
my wife.
I know.
That's for David, in case
That's
he's
right.
like, oh,
Yeah,
I
he's like,
can't
who?
believe it.
Yeah.
Brown Note's
So-
in there. He says he's ready to be healed.
Oh, yeah, man. Chunksville's in the house from the UK.
He's like,
Good to have you here, man.
Chunksville, I love that.
Oh, yeah, man.
yeah.
Lots-
And I think SI Services from South Africa, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, we're international.
All over the world, guys.
Ooh, Joshua
Shauna.
Dillinger.
Yeah. What's up? Yeah.
Gosh,
You know him.
love that guy.
Macintosh Group in the house. So what do you got for snacks, Shauna? First of all, your lighting is looking awesome over there.
Yeah.
Oh,
What do you
yeah,
got for
man.
snacks today?
Well, the lighting this is how it normally would be. It's just I put blackout curtains over the big window. So
Oh.
now I can control the lighting in here. So I only got 3 lights on. These 2 and the hair light. And then just some ambiance. You know what I'm saying?
Look at you.
I was playing around with other colors
Uh-oh.
today. So look at
You look like a YouTuber.
He's
I
getting
know,
fancy
right?
now.
I'm official, but my favorite color is blue, so we're gonna keep it there. But
There you
yeah,
go.
dude, I just got an apple, hard-boiled egg, and I did a workout. I was telling David I did a workout like an hour ago, so my wife made a bunch of healthy snacks.
That's hilarious.
So
Feeling good, man. Feeling
Yeah.
good.
How about you, Michael? What do you got? David, you have water? You might want some water because we talked for a while.
That's all I got, man. Just some
Yeah,
water.
man,
Had my snacks earlier.
I'm fine. I just literally got back from taking my son to his birthday dinner. So I was hauling. I was really going quickly, right?
That's awesome.
And so I just literally got back. So if I stay awake, I'm going to be doing really good because we had a
Nice.
couple glasses of wine, some Italian food. So yeah, I am wide awake, ready to go.
How old's your son?
He just turned 36 years.
Nice. Super
Probably
cool, man.
older than a lot of you guys.
Yes, he's definitely older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got this. You guys know about this?
What's that?
Filipinos know about
Beer?
Jollibee. If you
Oh,
don't
I
know
thought
about
it was
Jollibee,
beer.
you know about Jollibee? No. Oh,
Mm-mm.
you don't know yet. Well, that's what I got going on. If my
All right.
eyes a little bit red right now, I just took a nap, and I guess you're not supposed to take a nap with your contacts on.
Yeah, that'll kind of
that's
irritate him.
number 1 rule, bro. Come on.
Oh,
What's wrong
well.
with you?
So if I look crazy right now, yeah, Jollibee has a great commercial. Yeah, so what are we talking about today? We can talk about anything. What's that mic? I want to know. What is that mic that you have there, David?
This is an MXL 910. And I typically swap this off, believe it or not, from my drums to this little setup. I use it as an overhead mic on my drum kit. And I was just about to go out and buy one of those, the blue microphones,
Yeah.
like the Yeti or something.
Yeah.
Huh?
Um,
Nah.
And then
Yeah.
I'm going, Hold
You,
on, I've
you don't
got
need that. You already have
personas.
plenty of microphones.
Well, not only the microphones, I've got all the interfaces as well. So I'm
Right.
going,
Everything's
hold
hooked
on,
up.
I can
You're good.
just make my own. So yeah, now I'm making my own. How does it sound?
It
Sounds good.
That's great.
Yeah.
You came prepared.
I'm glad to be here. It's
Oh.
nice to have you.
See,
guys.
well, see, just
He's got the big bottom going on already.
there you go. Yeah.
Cool. So we got some people in the house. This is gonna be awesome. Shane, spare change is in the house. Joe, free sponsor. Yeah, we're saying we need a food sponsor in here.
Yeah. Snack sponsor.
Snack sponsor. There you go.
Chana's all about that.
David, before we get into it, I have a question from somebody who I was promoting this, and somebody said, ask David how many speakers he has in his system right now. I guess they want to know.
Oh, you mean in my
what
house?
systems do you have?
Oh gosh, I've got a bunch of systems.
Show them the desktop one you showed us just now.
Yeah. You guys will be
This is-
impressed. So this is
this
just a
is
little
what
small
I,
setup for the desk.
This is what I listen. This is what I watch, or this is what I listen to every single day. This is what you're seeing from behind me
Your vantage
going
point.
out now.
All right.
So got a couple of Martin Logan 11A. This is literally
How
my
about that, dude?
desktop system. And I started doing desktop systems like years ago. I mean, really good ones, right? So I would get, incredible little studio monitors, but they were still, kind of small.
Yeah.
And, I just decided I want to try this. This was a total experiment because I had to move the Martin Logans out of the way because I had just gotten I don't know if you guys know about the Gell Sanders Icon system.
Yeah.
So I had just gotten a brand new Gell Sanders Icon system, and I thought I needed some place to put these. And I'm going, where am I going to put them? I sure don't want to drag them downstairs and have to drag them all the way back up here. So I'm going, well, something for right now. Let me just put them.
Let me just put them right there.
Put my
I'm
Eli
putting in
desktop
front of my
screen.
desk, and then I've got a 300 or so watt amplifier that I've got the panels being driven by, and then there's a 400 watt per channel amp driving two sets of subwoofers underneath this. So we were just talking about it before the live stream started, and it's like, okay, if there is a gnat in the sound stage, I've heard it. I'm hearing it. I know exactly what's going on.
That's a tight setup. Man.
So yeah, it really, really helps a lot to have something so incredibly accurate. Yeah, that's the guys right there.
This is what he's rocking right here.
Oh
Yeah,
my
man.
God. You win. I don't think I've
Yeah.
seen. I mean, I've had some floor standing speakers at my desk before, but no,
Not like these.
not like that. No,
You're right.
they were like slender. No.
Yeah, so I really need to be able to hear the differences between things.
And you were saying this is what you mix and master on, right?
Yeah, I mix on these things. I master on them. I listen to them. I critique with them. If I literally change out anything in this system, it's a fairly dramatic change. You don't have to listen twice to be able to hear what I'm hearing. And really, downstairs is the same. I've got like I was saying, an Icon system, and that's a fully driven DSP system. So literally everything is driven with digital signal processing. Every speaker has got 4 100-watt mono blocks built into the speaker, and that's connected via balanced outputs from the controller that does all of the crossovers and stuff. You can do these crossovers at, like, believe it or not, like 70 dB per octave. I mean, if you could imagine what an acoustic 70 dB per octave crossover would look like, you could maybe fit it in this room. I mean, it would be huge and super, super cost prohibitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these things you can cross these things over at, standard 12, 18, 24 dB per octave, or you can go completely nuts and just drop these drivers exactly next to each other. And it is these two systems have been the coolest systems that I've ever had. But then I've also got a pair of the Martin Logan Motion 40s. I don't know if you know what those are. They're the floor standers that are used in the AMT high end, the AMT tweeter. And I like those a lot too. And then I opened and co-founded a company called Peachtree Audio. So I've got tons of Peachtree Audio speakers and Peachtree Audio amplifiers that are all around the house. So they're all connected with, one of, I don't know, a dozen servers that I've got around here as well. So yeah, there's a lot of systems. I think I've got about 7 or 8 systems. I don't think there's a room.
He's got a few toys.
How many rooms do you have in this house, man?
Oh, it's a big house. I mean, it's quite a large house. But I'm in Atlanta, so you can get a big house in Atlanta. Or if I would have taken this money to say California, I could have gotten like a 1 bedroom, 1 bath bungalow.
That's what we all talk about. You and we're always just joking around like, you guys can get what over there?
Yep.
No, we got like 5 bedrooms and living room, and everything's a huge space. So yeah, I've got music everywhere. I've always had music everywhere. I started off with years and years ago. I started off with the Sonos system and had kind of built from there. And now I'm using just a number of different kind of servers because I really need to know what they all sound like and what their attributes are. And and believe it or not, they start off with something as small as like an iPhone and a Dragonfly, which that's super fun. That's like my portable system. And God, the performance you can get out of something like that is just, it's mind boggling. It's so good.
That's crazy. You mentioned Icon. The thing I think about is that guy has a great head of hair, right? Just like you have good hair too, doesn't he? That hair,
yeah,
amazing.
He does, but I can tell you, man, he is one of the neatest guys. He's really a very, very smart guy. In fact, Gail was the owner of Martin Logan.
Yep.
Before he sold that, so he started in on that whole thing. I've been a big Gail Sanders fan for many, many years. And when he came back into the industry, he could have easily, it would have been a lot easier. People tend to go back to what they know and what they're good at. And he was fantastic at electrostatic speakers. I mean, he had just mastered it. But instead of doing that, he was going, why don't I hop into something that's going to be a little more like pro audio? Because, when you get into a pro audio atmosphere, they don't take a couple of speakers, let's call them line arrays. They don't take line arrays and subwoofers and, and these things are hugely expensive. Some of these things are, $500,000 line arrays, right?
Sure.
And the subs are, hugely expensive, much, much more so than like a consumer sub. You never see those people take those kinds of systems and just plop them into a room, put the board on there and go. They always tune these things to the room, and they tune them by timing. They tune them by frequency response. They tune them by reflections on the walls. I mean, they go to huge extremes. So when you go to like your favorite music venue, and you go and it's the one that you go, oh my God, this thing sounds unbelievable. Every single time I go, no matter who's playing, it always sounds incredible. Those people have got speakers that were tuned to that specific environment, not just
that space,
throwing them in there and going, let's hope for the best, which is what most people end up doing when they, buy their hi-fi system, right? No hi-fi is going to sound the same in 2 areas or not exactly the same.
And somebody mentioned your drum kit too. They're like, you can hop on there or what?
If this microphone,
he's like tempted. He's like, let's make it happen, man.
Hold on. The webcam didn't used to take it, but sure, no problem. It's a lot of fun. I have fun with those things. I've been playing drums and guitar pretty much my whole life. And music is a big part of everything that I do, but
that's awesome.
Luckily, it's also a big part of my company. Everybody in our company has got huge music backgrounds in one way or another. So, it's not like just a bunch of corporate people that found a new gig and thought, oh yes, we can market that. It's we live it, we love it. One of our taglines is "We are the music lovers," and That is absolutely true.
Well, somebody said maybe you could do the outro for us.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
And we'll see how you feel.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
If he's still awake, I mean,
If he's still awake.
Nobody,
didn't-
I could tell you, nobody has ever asked me to do that before. So if we make it, then
we're
I'll be
we're
glad.
totally. Don't let us forget that.
For the
That would-
fans. It's for the
that
fans.
would totally like make this show. That'd be awesome.
Well, you know
Be a lot
what
of
you're
fun.
here to talk about. What are we here to talk
Qobuz.
about?
I'm guessing Qobuz and
Qobuz.
high resolution and
Is that how you pronounce it?
Qobuz.
Because I was just like, how do I pronounce this thing?
Man,
So
I'll
it's
tell
Qobuz,
you,
right? Officially.
From a marketing standpoint, it is the best name in the world. If you are a marketeer and have been for any number of years, that there's a couple of letters that if you could happen to work these two letters in on your name, then you do so. It's a Q and a Z. They're very, very hard to work into a name for a company, but Qobuz is actually means something. I thought the same thing, when I went there. Qobuz, what the heck is Qobuz? And they told me, but and I'll let you in on it. It's basically an ancient instrument. I wish I would have had this picture pulled up, because they actually have one at Qobuz, Qobuz headquarters. It's an ancient instrument. It's an ancient sacred instrument. The only people that could play it were shamans. So you had to be a holy man if you even touched this thing, right? So you know what a Qobuz is. You've seen them. It's like oh, look at you. I love
he's
this.
the man. He's the man.
Okay, I want you on my next live stream.
China hooks it up, man. Look at that.
So it's like an instrument that's a lot of times it's got a leather back. This one's is a new one, very new. But the old ones, the ancient ones, had like a leather back, very much like the one that you're playing right now, that you're looking at right now. And the stringed instrument was said to possess powers that would ward away evil spirits and even death. So my big joke, at least coming into Qobuz, was you might want to hop on this service if you're at all worried about anything in your life. This may be able to take care of you. But at any rate, so they've got one of these things at Qobuz, right?
Interesting.
So as a uncultured American, and not only an uncultured American, but Southern on top of that, right? So I go to Qobuz and I see it's the Qobuz, and I'm going, can I play it? Can I try to mess? Oh, sure. Yeah, no problem. So they hand me down the Qobuz, and it's all, like this gentle, handing over of the sacred instrument. And of course I grab it like a guitar and I start bending the chords, making the faces too, right?
Oh, mercy.
Making the rock and roll faces. Everybody at Qobuz is looking at me like, oh my God, what is he doing? Right.
You figured out how to play that thing real quick or what?
Heck no. It's are you kidding me? But it looked like I knew how to play it. It looks like I know how to play it on the picture when I'm doing the whole, because if you can play air guitar, then you can figure out how to hold a Qobuz and make people think you're doing a lead break.
That's hilarious.
China knows. And then afterwards, some of your white hair turned black. It just recovered.
Just the center.
That was amazing. A few
Jesse
notes on
Luna from DCS calls that my reverse skunk beard. So
There you go.
Air Qobuz. Very cool. So now we know what that means.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's good to know. I had no idea.
Yeah.
nobody does.
But see, they heard it first here at Daily Hi-Fi.
Well, here's
There
what
you go.
actually they didn't hear it first here. They've heard it for many, many, many months and up to a couple of years, because that is something that sort of came up frequently. But when I the first show that I did, it was really, really cool. And this is when I knew we had a really cool name. This is at Cedia, like 3 years ago, maybe. It's before we actually even opened, but we had made a little bit of noise. And I'm walking by this open air restaurant, and these two guys are going, no, it's Qobuz. No, it's Qobuz. No, it's Qobuz. No, it's. They're sitting.
It's the Qobuz.
Like so I'm walking with
need
my
to catch
managing
Qobuz.
director, Dan. Right, Dan Macta. He's our managing director. I'm walking with him, and I'm going, we could not buy better marketing. These guys were just like, at least for a minute or two as we were walking by, because I slowed down. I wanted to hear the conversation. It's you know, I can't believe they're doing this, Dan. They've been talking for like 2 minutes about how to pronounce her name. He's going, yeah, I've heard other people doing that too. So it's been really good like that.
That's Josh was saying the first time he's ever heard you tell that story, and he's known you for 2 years. So that's hilarious.
You gotta ask Joshua. You know.
Well, it's not one of those things that are that you walk around going, hey, you want to know
what Qobuz means?
It typically has to kind of come up. It's not like I don't have like a line. I should put that into my elevator speech, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So
everybody likes to hear the backstory.
So last night I did a little bit of research about different high-res streaming services, and I'm very happy that I think that I'll understand how Qobuz works compared to some of the others out there, because I was looking at some of the other ones and I'm like, I did IT for 10 years and I don't understand what this means. What are they talking about? Like different kind of, it just, I saw how you guys are doing it. And it just made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it's just super simple. We broadcast and we broadcast in FLAC, so you don't need any real special DACs to
decode
do anything with the signal. To listen to the whole signal, all you have to do is have a DAC that'll do 24/192. That's what we're streaming at or up to. The most of the stuff on there, though, I mean, most stuff just recorded period is in 1644. So when you can get it in a little higher bit rate, then fantastic. And frankly, some of the stuff you can see a lot of hands on the way these things are marketed and put out there, because some of the high res stuff you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe how good that sounds. And then other stuff you go, did you really have to put that in high res, because it really doesn't sound much different than,
it was garbage to begin with.
That's exactly it. When you do a really bad job of mixing, or your technology just wasn't up to when it just wasn't up to snuff while you were putting this stuff down, like I think of almost everything in the rock genre from the 70s and 80s, I'm thinking, what were you guys thinking when you recorded this? Or what were you smoking when you recorded it?
They just came back from the shaman.
Yeah. These days, oh my gosh, I cannot believe some of the recordings coming out. If you guys are music listeners, if you've been listening over the last, say decade or so, even in the last 4 or 5 years, the recording industry has made huge leaps and bounds from where it was.
So I want to stay on this topic for a little bit, because maybe for the people who don't understand, Qobuz is a streaming service. Let's just start there. For the people who don't know anything, well, I think most of the people who watch already do know. But if you don't, it's a streaming service, and you do high res, like you were saying, you do FLAC. And so that made a lot of sense to me. Yeah.
We're actually the only, we call ourselves the true high res company, because we're the only ones that are broadcasting in the same type of format that, say, a studio would give you your very best recording in, which would typically be a 24/192 recording or a 24/96 recording. It'll be somewhere up there, or even 24/48. There's some amazing 24/48 recordings. And believe it or not, there's actually some pretty good 24/44 recordings. I'm a recording engineer as well. I have been my whole life. And really that depth, that bit word, this is kind of a weird little symbol there. I mean, I see this a lot, but this is my least favorite way to describe high res, although it's the most common way that people describe high res, and they do it with like less dots in between the samples and that kind of thing, which can be important and it can be useful, but it's certainly nothing like the 24-bit word. That's the most important part of the whole thing.
And they don't even show a little graph for that. They show a
No,
logo.
They get the logo. It's one
It's
pixel.
like-
It becomes
like,
one
what happened,
pixel.
man?
That sounds worse.
That's
They
right.
One big
do,
pixel.
because everybody from the beginning of time, I used to teach digital, and I was taught to teach digital, and everyone from the beginning of time teaches digital from the perspective of this is the way it's being played back, as opposed to this is the way it's been recorded. And really, the only important thing there is the way it's recorded. All we get to do on the back end is take advantage of that recording. So that's the real key is recording. And let me take that just one step further, okay? A lot of us have recorded on analog devices, and we'll take the analog to that, to that VU meter, the top end of the VU meter, as close as we can get it, right? Because you just want this thing as linear as possible. It's the same process you do when you're dealing with digital, except when you clip digital, it is nasty. It sounds horrible, and you never want to clip digital. You want to stay far away from that clip. And so normal recording engineers, when they were dealing with a 16-bit process, they would record, not 16-bit, although it is a 16-bit format. Most of them will get 12 bits or 14, or if you're really not very good at all, you might get 8 bits. Now, so what happens to those other bits, because it's a 16-bit format? So let's say you're dealing with a recording engineer that got his bit rate all the way up to 14 bits. What happens? How do you get it to 16 bits? 2 null bits are inserted. So you are dealing with theoretically a 16-bit format, but realistically you're dealing with a 14-bit format or a 12-bit format, which is what drives me crazy with some of these audiophile discussions. And because they're always theoretical, they're always, well, you can't get dynamic range of even 2448. Yeah, like if you were really using everything, but this is just a tool. This is like going, well, you don't want to ever buy a Lamborghini because you can only go 55.
Not
okay,
me.
that's cool, but
You can go
I
a lot
want to
faster than
know
that.
that it'll do 250 if I if I press this thing, right? It's all about headroom, and typically typically these discussions, especially on the audiophile groups, just blow me away, because it's like, oh yeah, this is all about us. So I can't really quite hear the difference between 16 24-bit. Yeah, you can. You know why? Because it was recorded better.
Yeah,
So even if they downgraded after that, you're still going to get the benefit of that dynamic range and of that frequency response and of actually getting 16 bits. You might be on a 24-bit recording system, but if you're not very good at all, you're still going to get at least 16 bits. That's why I'm going, recordings are getting so much better these days because engineers.
Oh, you muted yourself.
The recordings are getting so much better because
Yeah.
recording engineers have got so much headroom.
Well, what you're saying is exactly true. I mean, we do video, and a lot of times we might shoot in, they just announce a 12K camera, and a lot of times that's for, so you can crop in, right? It's not so you can deliver in 12K, because nobody has a 12K anything, but it's so you can deliver it and you have headroom to zoom in, zoom out. I think that's kind of equivalent, or sometimes you want something with more dynamic range. Yeah,
that is very equivalent.
Yeah. And so staying on FLAC though, that makes a lot of sense, because FLAC is, what you use if you want to rip a CD. You want to usually keep it in FLAC format, so it's, you're keeping all the data there.
Right.
And it made
but
a lot of sense to me. Yeah, it made a lot of sense to me because, we have enough bandwidth nowadays, right? I can stream on YouTube 4K, I think 8K now too. You can stream 8K content on YouTube video. Yep. So video is more intensive than audio when it comes to, the amount of the size of the files.
It is, although our brains get full with video more so than they do audio. So if you're dealing with, say, an 8K stream, typically those are adaptive streams. It's very much like when you first get onto Amazon, they say 24.96. they've got it set up purely adaptive, so that if you can handle 2496, no problem. But if you can't, that thing will go all the way down to 320 kilobits per second or MP3. Now, if you do that for just, a frame, 30 frames or 60 frames, then it comes back, your brain
doesn't
fills
see
all
it and
that
sense
in.
it. Gotcha.
It doesn't see that degradation. However, when you're adapted with audio, it does go down. So in some cases, you do need some bandwidth to you do need some bandwidth to do full resolution all the time. I always tell people, if you're gonna do full and high resolution audio, particularly high resolution audio, even though we do have the technology that you can theoretically, I hate theoretical stuff. I want it real, right? While you can theoretically stream 24/192, I don't like experiences that are not pristine. So when you stream 24/192, I always go, or 176 or even 24/96, wire yourself, get an Ethernet cable, because when it gets adaptive with, at least with Qobuz, it doesn't try to fool your brain and kind of make it a little fuzzy and then come back. It just cuts out. So know what you're dealing with. But we are living in such a wonderful time. 3 years ago, the average internet speed in America was something like 2.3 megabits per second.
Oh yeah.
Now
Trash.
it's up. I just read an article, I don't know, maybe a month ago, that said it was now up to average of 50. So as long as you've got like 20, 25, you're good with us.
I'm running like 500 here.
Yeah.
So,
We're like Scandinavia. I also
yeah. Strange flex there, Mike.
no, man, no, because there are guys doing like gigabit stuff, man, and blow my junk out of the water. But it just shows you that that's just become affordable nowadays. I pay like $50 a month for internet.
In 2013, I think it was, maybe 2013, 2014, I went to work for Tidal. I was the guy that brought Tidal over here too. And
Tidal? What's
Tidal? The other good service.
other guy?
I have no problem with those guys, right? They've got a very nice service as well. But I brought those guys over here, and at that time, I mean, we were kind of on the brink of starting to have a halfway decent internet, but we still didn't. We were still 2, 3, 4 megabits per second. But all the Scandinavians, like I was in Oslo, and you get 1,000 up, 1,000 down. Like everybody's got 1,000 up, 1,000 down. Now we're just now starting to see that.
Yeah.
I'm using it for bragging rights personally.
He's got the gigabit, man.
I have both. I have both services, and so, I mean, I just like the fact that I don't need anything special, like I can just stream.
Oh, you mean for a high resolution?
I can stream at the best quality as long as I have enough bandwidth, which most people do. I mean, even when I'm on Wi-Fi, on cellular, right? I have enough bandwidth.
Oh yeah.
So
that is so cool. I am using for cellular. You guys know this thing, right? The little.
What's that?
A Dragonfly?
Yeah, Dragonfly. Yeah.
So I'm using this with a little camera adapter on, because I used to actually travel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
and I would use that on my phone with Qobuz, and I'm getting full at least 2496. It won't do quite 192, but I got to tell you, when I'm on an airplane, 35,000 feet with some, JH ear monitors in, I am one happy camper. We're living in a wonderful time right now.
Yeah,
that's
no
for
doubt.
sure.
We had a question up here. We're gonna have.
Yeah, I thought that too. One up here by Robert. He says, "Love Qobuz, premier subscriber. Recently, Mark Wathrop was on the Daily Hi-Fi podcast outlining the result of 500 plus people studying comparison high res versus CD. Most can't tell a difference. What are your thoughts on that?"
I could pick out about 100 songs that you cannot hear a difference. And I can pick out just as many or thousands more that you can. We had actually gone over this a little while ago. We're living in a marketing world, folks, and if a record label can reissue something in some way and think they can make a few extra bucks on it, but bet your bottom dollar they will do it.
Right.
At the same time, if I'm trying to prove a point to you, and Spotify does this all the time, they'll put up 10 songs that you're going, ooh, man. And check this out. Let's not say different formats. Let's try to keep this in the same format. So they'll be streaming something that's, say, 320 kilobits per second. Well, a CD goes all the way up to, say, 1411 kilobits per second. We can say that instead of 1644. So if we keep it in these same terms, then we can kind of start understanding this as one technology as opposed to a bunch of technologies that just get purposely confusing, which that kills me. So you can, if you've got a specific purpose and you like Spotify, because they didn't want to go to high res, it costs more, right? It costs more, and the customer experience wouldn't be the same because you're going to get some more cutouts on high res than you would low res. So if I'm Spotify, I'm going to pick out 10 tunes and I'm going to go, can you hear the difference? Here's the 16-bit, or here's the 320 kilobit, here's the 1411 kilobit. If I'm a smart marketer, you are going to get the results that I want you to get. Right. So we can do the exact same thing, just opposite. I can give you some cuts right now that you can go to, and if you can't hear the difference, then go to Spotify or go to something else. You don't need a Qobuz. But if you go to Steely Dan, Katie Lied, listen to the 16-bit version and then listen to the 2496 version. Now, here's the reality of the situation. This is not theoretical. This is the reality of the situation. You could buy that 16-bit copy on a CD. You could not buy the 2496 copy on a CD because it wouldn't even fit. That math doesn't work. So that particular 2496, even though it's a reissue and a remaster, it is almost a night and day kind of a thing. There's another one from Illinois Jacquet. This is an album that was recorded in 1957, or actually released in 1957. It's called The Swing of Things. We've got both of those, the 16-bit version and the 24, I think it's the 24-192 version, because about 3 years ago, I actually bought that album, right? I bought it in 24-192, and I'm going, oh my God, this thing sounds so good. But it cost me like $60 when I bought it. I'm thinking this thing sounds so good. When this guy starts blowing on that saxophone, he is in the room with you. I mean, it is so eerie. And what you hear with this recording is what an audiophile would call air around the instrument. And it really does sound like that, because when you go to the 16-bit version, that air is gone. You do get all the notes, but the air is completely gone. And it's like, wow, it didn't take any frequency away. It didn't take any notes away. What it took away was the emotion that was delivered there.
Interesting.
So those are just old recordings, right?
Who are those by?
The first one is Steely Dan, Katie Lied. The second one is Illinois Jacquet. The name of the album is called The Swing of Things. Another one for you, I could name these all day long, that you guys can hear the difference on, even with not a killer, not a system like I've got. If you've got a pretty good modest system, you can hear these differences. Another one would be Kenny Burrell, Midnight Blue, which is another super old jazz album that if you play the 16-bit and then you play the 24-bit on the 24-bit unit, you start getting the sense of reality. You start being able to, taste the metallic on the end of his guitar string, as opposed to just know what the note is. And believe me, I'm super, super familiar with the guys that are going, you can't hear the difference. And, it to me, as a recording engineer, is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. However, I don't have 400 albums. I don't have a 400 album discography, nor does the person you were talking about before. He's got like a 6 or 8 or 10 discography. I'm going to have, and I'd love you guys to join me on this. I'm going to have a guy named Bill Schnee on a live stream in 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. Do you guys know who that is?
No.
Bill is, to me, one of the best recording engineers that have ever been on planet Earth. He was recording incredible music when just there's not a lot of engineers that were recording incredible music back then. He was the guy that did, and you guys are probably a little young to know this, but a lot of your older audiophiles will know this, and then I'll continue to go along with his discography. But he was the guy that recorded Thelma Houston's Pressure Cooker. That was his first album, which in 1982, 83, you could not walk into a hi-fi shop without seeing 14 copies laying around. Everybody had this because it was like a premier recording. And then he went on to record Boss Skaggs and Toto and Simon Phillips. Bill is one of the best recording engineers I've ever thought about meeting, because he was doing great recordings before 24-bit was around. He's just one of those guys that he's a magic. He's got a book coming out called Chairman of the Board, which I thought was really clever.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but we're going to have him on. And now this isn't a guy that's here to sell books or to try to prove or disprove theories. He's just going, this is what I heard, David, when I recorded my first album at 24-192. It was the first time I ever heard the band with no glass in between us. And what he meant by that is like he was in the room. Every other time I've recorded, no matter how expensive the tape machine, it never sounded like I actually was in the room with the guys. Now I can do that.
Well,
so we'll have some real cool surprises with him.
Let me just say this though. So Redbook, what is the quality on Redbook CD quality is officially?
It can be really good if you remember we were talking about if you can possibly record in Redbook, and there are quite a few engineers that can. There's people like Cookie Marenko. Do you guys know her? She owns Blue Coast Records.
No,
and,
I guess what I was asking was like, what is the resolution on CD quality?
Up to 1411 kilobits per second, as opposed to say MP3, which is around 320 kilobits per second, as opposed to 24-192, which is over 9500 kilobits per second.
Okay, so let's just say for argument's sake, like for me personally, what if I can't hear the difference? Let's just say, right? What other services? I know, and you don't have to answer, but I'm more asking like Techno Dad, Youth Man, like what other services can you get that have at least CD quality? That's
Deezer and Tidal.
Deezer and Tidal, yeah. Amazon just started their situation.
Amazon does high res like we do. They're up to 24-192. It was really cool with Amazon because they came in at $14.99 when we were $25. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And then within about a month and a half, we dropped our price to meet their price. So you can get this for $14.99. And as a result, here's what's going on. And you can't hear the difference.
I love this guy.
Yeah.
He's like, let me tell you something.
Bring it, man. Come on, bring it.
Here's the thing, Joe. A lot of people tell me they can't hear the difference, or I don't have the ears to do it. And I always think probably you're wrong. I'll give you a really good example. My son says to me, Dad, I've had Spotify now. I get him the Spotify deal, right? Of the family pack.
Sure.
We've all got it.
Sure.
So my son comes to me going, Dad, I can't hear the difference with this. It's just, you're a total ripoff. This doesn't work at all, right? And I'm going, that's great. I'm going, okay. I mean, I get it because I understand how people get accustomed to what they're listening to, right? Mm-hmm. We've lost a whole generation to the MP3, because we didn't have enough bandwidth nor storage to do full bit. So here's what I would say to you, Joe. I would go, then just there's two answers here. Go get Spotify. And if you're truly a passive listener, just get Spotify, be done with it.
Yeah.
However, let me
trying to
just
say-
finish this one thought out, okay? However, if you listen to Qobuz for 6 months, for 3 months, you won't be able to go back, because at that point you are going to, your ear brain is going to it's going to
Get accustomed to it.
itself to having this extra bit of emotion that you didn't have, that you no longer have, and you won't even be able to explain it. You won't even be able to put it into words yourself, other than there's something missing and it feels wrong. And then that's how you start hearing the difference between low resolution and high resolution, other than the little ones that I just mentioned to you a little while ago, which is like that. But you listen to it for 6 months and then try to go back to Spotify and then tell me you can't hear the difference, because I think you can.
Yeah, well, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not arguing with you on this. I'm saying more so that some people might argue between high res and CD quality, right? That's what I'm saying is, I bet you most people can hear the difference between CD quality and some of those lower resolution, like some of those high ones. I think I've done tests myself, and I can tell the difference, right? So I've had some good headphones, and I can hear the difference between, I think the test was like 384 and then like 192, and and then you're supposed to do that versus CD quality, and I could hear a difference between those. Now, if you ask me if I could hear the difference between CD quality and high res, maybe not. But I think the point is, if you are using Spotify, you may want to check this out. Just even, forget the whole debate about high res for a second, but just going from Spotify to CD quality, I think is going to be a significant difference. That's all I'm saying.
Right, and you might as well just do high res because we're the same price.
Now you're the same price, but I'm saying, that kind of takes away the whole argument portion of it. Like, I think very few people would argue between CD quality and some of those more compressed ones.
So here's where the argument falls apart, because that is the discussion on 75 audiophile websites, on 75 audiophile groups. The way that you just presented that is exactly the way it's presented. My contention is it's a flawed setup to begin with. The words you spoke are, let me tell you why they're flawed, because we want to make this about us. Can we hear the difference? Let me tell you why you can hear the difference. Is because your engineer started off with a high resolution signal. Now, here's what happens. You get that high resolution signal and it is recorded fantastic. Now, let's say you take that high resolution signal, the big thing, and now you take that and you dumb it down to 1644. Now you can kind of start making a comparison. Is there a difference? Yes. Is it as big a difference if they didn't record in 24-bit to begin with? That's where you're getting the biggest bang. They're already making a better recording for you at 24 bits. So if you deal with a program like either say HD Tracks, and you're buying the stuff from HD Tracks,
I was doing that.
Or you're streaming them off of Qobuz, that's when you're gonna get every single thing that the engineer and the recording artist meant for you to get. When you go down a little bit, say you go down to a 1644 signal, which doesn't even make sense anymore, because technically there's no reason to ever do that. But if you did, could you hear a difference? It's going to be smaller than if you were recording at 16 and then recording at 24. That way you hear it every single time. There's no debate between engineers on this particular thing. So what you're already starting out with is a high resolution recording. That's why it sounds so good. So if you take that pristine recording and you drop it down to 16, yeah, there's a little bit of difference. And I've given you some recordings that you can play. And if you just play those 3 that I talked to you about, you will hear what you get between 16 and 24.
And at the end of the day, it's the same price now, right?
And
So
at the end of the day, it's the same price. So
might as well if you have the bandwidth. Optimus Vader, he has a question here. He said 24.
Thank you for
is
the
a little
super chat, by the way.
much.
We appreciate that. Yeah.
24 a month is a little too much for me. What do you say? He says he wants a special for Daily Hi-Fi family. Go ahead. Can you see that?
Yeah.
He's like,
24.
yes.
So
yeah,
hook
we
'em up.
do a 24. We do if you do a family plan, we it's $24.99 a month. So
Right. For 6 users, right? I think that's what I saw.
yeah, and then $15 if you just want to do it yourself. So it's just a little more expensive now than Spotify. It's really getting down to the kind of the same kind of a price. Plus, honestly, there's not much reason for MP3 to exist right now anyway. We were the first company that just said, forget it. We're just taking it off the service. We don't support it at all. We're the only service that doesn't do at least an MP3 tier.
I'd be pretty good at marketing, because what I would say is, like, for those who are debating, for me, I just like to see the little logo. If I see the little logo, that makes me happy.
The little
Yeah.
the high res logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I'm
love
happy.
that. I love that. We're the
Let's
only
go-
ones that
let's
got
go
that okay from the Japanese Audiophile Society. They're the keepers of that logo, and
If
we're
you-
the only streaming service that's got rights to use that. But I love the
can't hear the difference. You can see the logo. So get it.
you can, and if you were just marketing it, we would that would be the thing to really look at. But I don't really like to do that. I like to go just listen, give yourself a chance to hear what this thing can do, because it really is quite remarkable with the right recordings, and not like every single one of them are going to be the right recordings. You could put
Of course.
Edgar Winter White Trash album in 32/384, and it's still going to sound like crap.
Talking up a lot of the time. I just have so many questions. Like, I was researching all last night. I'm like, I want to ask him all these tough questions.
Yeah.
Hopefully-
Anything is good with me.
Go ahead,
You know,
Shauna.
one thing I noticed about Spotify, since a lot of people use it, right? On my phone, if I'm going to listen to it like my teenager does or my wife does on my phone, pair of earbuds,
Doesn't matter.
and I'll listen to the same song on Tidal, and what I notice is Spotify is significantly louder. Whether or not the quality difference I can hear a distinct loudness and volume, even though the volume on my phone and on the apps are like the same. So when I switched to Tidal and just started listening to more stuff on Tidal, and then switching my headphones to these focals, I noticed I liked it a lot more than Spotify. And I think it goes to exactly what you were talking about earlier, is we get accustomed to like the service that we're listening to.
Yeah, and like people almost always think that louder is better. So I'll give you an example. If you took two identical pairs of speakers and one was a dB.5 louder than the other speakers, 90% of the people would say that's my choice.
Those are the better ones, right?
I like those better than the other ones you were playing. Loudness is a thing that fools us probably the most with quality, because it's the first thing that we hear and it's immediate.
Right.
It's really the same thing with speakers too. If you say listen to two pairs of speakers and you're not doing it for very long, you're just kind of doing it, kind of almost like Joe was talking about. Well, I can't hear the difference. Well, you don't really know if you can hear the difference, right? So if you're doing like
I'm playing devil's advocate here, David.
I get it. I totally get it. I appreciate that too.
I have both services. I have a lot of different services, actually.
Yeah.
So I can.
No. I really got that, what you were saying, but it's so realistic what you were saying as well. If you were just to listen to one and the other, most people would go, I can't hear a difference. But the same thing with, like, if you have a speaker that's got, say, 3 dB more output at say 13 kilohertz, almost everybody will hop on that one too, as long as it's not a harsh recording, because it's got more high end, so it must be better. So what I really try to tell people to do with anything, with turntables, with speakers, with streaming services, listen. Give
Yeah.
yourself a really time to acclimate yourself, because if you try to do this in 30 seconds or a minute or 5 minutes, you might as well just not do it, because you'll come up with just the wrong conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way Tidal sounds, or the way Qobuz sounds over Tidal. And actually, it was one of my patrons, right? I recommended Tidal to them, right? I said, hey, get Tidal because they got a new system or something like that. And then they're like, hey, I want to try Qobuz too, and I'm gonna compare them. And they did, and they're like, hey, Qobuz sounds better to me, right? And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I don't know why, you know? So I was just a little skeptical, and I was like, all right. And then somebody from your team's like, hey, you guys want to try it out and see, you know, what it's about. And so I decided to do it, and I'm like, I like it better. I don't know why. I can't tell you why, but I just like the way it sounds better because I don't have all the stuff that I need to unfold and do all that stuff with MQ. So I maybe not getting the full effect, but I don't want to buy all that stuff. I have good stuff. I have all kinds of stuff here. Why do
you got all kinds of shit, dude?
Why do I have to buy more stuff? You know what I mean? I just got in the mail right now some $500 IEMs. So I think it's going to be, the limitation will be my hearing and my ability to perceive. It's not going to be the stuff that I'm using, right?
Right.
So I have, you know, somebody said Chana did a drop on his headphone. I was using some focals. I have Stellias, so those are 3G. So it's not my stuff, but I'm just happy that I don't need to buy more stuff. You know what I mean? If I want to get more stuff, I just subscribe.
I get that, and a lot of people don't, and I don't. I just want it to be standard. I want it to be something that anyone could pick up at any time and play it back without having to go buy a bunch of other stuff. But I at the same time, I never fault those people that say just the opposite. If they do, it's like, look, if you're enjoying what you're listening to, at least you're listening to music. I know that Qobuz isn't going to be getting 100% of the people. We won't be getting nearly that. We're not that mainstream, right? So really, I tell people, if you love what you're doing, if you love what you're listening to, if you're having a good time, if it sounds perfect to you and you're perfectly satisfied, God bless you. You won. You know,
that's it, right?
And for those people that want just that little extra more, we're getting more high resolution delivered to us these days than we are regular resolution. Like the new files that are coming out, they're not coming out anymore, or seldom are they coming out in 1644. They're now coming out in 2448 or 2496 or 192. They're really coming out. And what you're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years is that just totally blossoming. There is no reason that a recording engineer ever has to record anything in a 1644 format again that would fit on it, just because it's got to fit on a CD, because we don't care anymore.
We don't do CDs much. Yeah.
That is like obsolete technology.
I like how you're so nice about, making sure you're not saying bad about any of the other companies. But I will say, I can say, so I'm over here. I'm going to say it. I'll just while you're on here, and then you react however you want to react. But the unfolding, I was reading this whole thing about MQA and the unfolding and all that. It reminds me of you ever get like a RAR file? You know what I mean? You know, you get a RAR file and you're like, cool, I got it. Here's the file, right? And then oh, hold on, you go to open it, you need a password. Like, what? That's how I kind of felt about it. Here's the file, but nah, you don't have the password to open it. You have to go and buy this stuff. So I don't like that. That doesn't make sense to me. When you have enough bandwidth, just send me the file. I'm paying you guys, right? I'm not speaking about I'm just saying this is my preference.
Yeah, no, I totally get it.
These guys
but
know
I
me
also
already.
Don't get pissed off when people they want to, people really try to get you to get upset with them. And so I never get upset when somebody says I listen to Tidal over Qobuz. Do you like it? Are you enjoying it? Fantastic. Go for it. Anybody could try us because we've got these 30-day trials. So, whatever you end up liking. But I think if you listen to us for 30 days and you're really listening, then all of a sudden you really can. What are you listening to, Joe, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I listen to all kinds of music. Like you'd
No,
see
no, no.
my
I mean, what's your system?
I have lots of different systems because I test speakers. So I review speakers on YouTube. So I'm reviewing headphones. Right now I have like these Klipsch the 5s right here on my desk. And behind me I have some Q acoustic stuff. I have a Parasound $3,000 Parasound A52 Plus over there.
Yeah. Woo.
So I got a home theater system over there. I have desktop. I have like a near field setup over here. So I have a few different systems and then some
Good. Yeah.
personal audio stuff. So I get to listen on a few different things, and I think my hearing's pretty good. And so, yeah, I like the service. Well, I'm just looking at all the comments here. There's so many MQA is a money thing. That's kind of how I felt about it. But hey, so one thing I would say about Tidal or Qobuz compared to Tidal, I did find that there were certain tracks that I couldn't find. So how is that going along now?
It's the same way it was with Tidal. When I brought Tidal over here, we had 15 tracks, and everybody would go, "Well, why don't you have this? Why don't you?" And literally, it just literally takes quite a bit of time just to get everything loaded. Well, I'm almost a little embarrassed to say this to you, but in full transparency, I really kind of feel like I need to. I was so upset that we didn't have Ricky Lee Jones, and I kept calling my guys in France, going. We don't have Ricky Lee. How can it? It's in the queue. We'll get it up for you. And this was for like 6 months. And finally, one of these guys wrote me from France and said, your Ricky Lee is up. And oh, great. So what's happening is people tend to think that we're burning CDs into a hard drive or something, or that's just not the way it happens. What ends up happening is we'll get like 14 million cuts from a distributor, and you're thinking, okay, we'll just copy that onto a hard drive. And so if you've ever tried to copy, like a gabillion terabyte hard drive, it doesn't happen overnight. I didn't know this either. I'm thinking, well, 14 million, that'll be able to do that. What, a couple of weeks? And the guy looks at me, one of the engineers over there, he's going, David, 14, do you know how many 14 million is? Do you guys do math in America? Do you do math in Southern America? Yes, we do math in Southern America, because that's going to take us 6 months minimum. It will be 6 months before those things get loaded in. And so we've got company after company. This is the way all streaming services work. So when you first start, you're still signing rights and things with artists and labels and writers and all the people that you have to sign agreements with. That starts almost all over. They never go from one country to another country. So yeah, it just literally takes a while. So here's the rub. We'll catch up with everyone probably sometimes later this year, probably toward the end of the year, from a track number, from the popular things that people ask for. But if you are like an eclectic jazz listener or classical listener, we've got cuts on Qobuz that Spotify will never see the light of day, nor will Tidal, because we've been doing this since 2009, and we've got some of these obscure labels that you can't even find anymore. So we've got plenty of this really cool obscure stuff that will, at some point, it does set us apart now, but at some point, once everybody sort of gets the same thing on their services, which they will, then it'll be, those will be the things that you'll tell the services apart with, that and the other really cool things that we do that just prove that we're really music lovers, not just people who are putting a bunch of files on the service. Like, you'll see more editorial written by human beings on Qobuz than you'll see any place else, any other music service by a long shot. And then we also have a download store. But why wouldn't we? But none of the other services do, right?
Yeah,
here's the real rub with our
cool.
download service. If you look at, say, an HD Tracks, and you see a download there for a $24.96 download, an HD Tracks for $30, ours is going to be $22. or if you see one there for 22, ours will be 12. I mean, we are a lot less expensive than any other download service. So you can go there and buy high res for almost nothing. What I like about it is that it supports your artist. That's what I'm really going for. I don't care if you own the music or not. I don't care why you own the music. I do care that when you are thoughtful enough to go onto our service and buy their album, Larkin Poe, or someone that's not, huge, people that are trying to make it at least.
Yeah.
Or the people that you just.
My music's on there, so I'm stoked. My music's on.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Dude, you've got to put this up on the on a link here in the private chat, just so you guys know. I wanted you guys to capture this and share this with everybody because I can't do it.
I already dropped it in there.
That's my acid test playlist. This will, any of these songs, I'm thinking, and there's probably 100 and there's probably around 100 songs on there, maybe a little more, but this is why high resolution. And it's not always 2496. Some of my high resolution, and I don't want to make this confusing, although I'm thinking it might be, some of my high resolution is standard resolution. Some of my high resolution is 1644. And the reason it's high resolution is because the recording engineer was so good that it is high resolution. They're using the full 16 bits. They're using the full 44.1. And that's why I don't like that stair step thing, because it never talks about dithering. And dithering has gotten it's gotten so advanced these days that the little checks that you see that are always highly magnified and over bloated, you don't see those. That you don't see those. You don't hear them. You do hear 24 and 16 though.
Can you recover data that isn't there? Like, is that possible? Like, let's say if I compress something.
I mean, that's what dithering does, basically.
It's recovering or smoothing?
It sort of, well, it depends on how you look at it. It doesn't really recover it. It creates it, but it creates it from known points. So it's kind of creating it, but it knows what it is. If you go, what's 2 minus 1? This is super, super simple, but you know what that is. It's not going to change it. So if they've got all of these complex waveform that's going on, and you've got a little stair step like that,
it just fills in the gap.
Super, super easy. That's not hard computation for a computer.
It's kind of like Photoshop when you're drawing a little circle around it. You're like, okay, fill in the hole, and based on the information that's around it, and it says, okay, I know it probably should be there.
That's actually, I wish I would use that as an analogy, because that's a very good analogy.
Looking here, what else we got? You guys have any other questions? I've been taking up a lot of the questions. If you want to ask some from the chat or take some calls, however you want to do it.
Here it is, David.
Hey,
Here are my albums.
I'm sorry.
Here are my albums on Qobuz.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic! I did.
Where's the photo, Chana?
That's something with the distribution company. That's not me.
That's
not me.
That's actually us. We're working.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, we're working on better pictures than we had. This is a whole new system within just a few weeks that you guys are seeing there. And so we're in the process of getting all of those pictures together. The avatar, I hate the avatar. So we want you up there.
Sweet.
Yeah, man, I can't wait to hear your stuff. What is it?
It's electronic music. It's all good.
Oh.
My viewers know this song, the Forever song. This is the song that's in the intro to all my YouTube videos. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You're saying supporting the artist, right? So I do also have YouTube music, and some people are like, I made a whole video about, that I like their algorithm of how it predicts like what I like, because they're Google. They know everything about you, right? So it's good at predicting that, but people are saying like, hey, they don't support their artists. Like, they give them barely anything. And you did mention that.
Yeah, I mean, the sad part about this whole thing is, if there's a sad part, is that like on streaming services or YouTube, you can't be an artist and go, this is how I'm going to make my living. If you are, it's just not going to be pretty. There was a management book a long time ago that I read that really just changed the way that I looked at things. It was called Who Moved My Cheese?
Oh yeah,
that.
yeah, I read that too.
You know that? So
Mhm.
here's the thing. All of our cheese has been moved, and it continually is moved. Our cheese was moved, or we wouldn't be doing this
Right.
right now. Right. So we have to just kind of figure it out. My cheese has been moved my whole life. When I first started in audio, people would line up around my store on Saturdays and, come in and buy turntables or buy the droves. But you would never open up on a Saturday where people weren't lined up around your building because it was the cool place to be. We were the cool kids at that point. I'm not any longer. I have been resigned to okay boomer. So that's what I am now. Back in the day. But that's the way it was. So had I stayed at that store on Saturday till now, waiting for people to line up again, guess what? I'm probably would be, not in real good shape. I can't think of an industry that hasn't had their cheese moved. The musicians have had their cheese moved as well. So
Big time.
you have to do things. I want to support musicians as much as possible. So that's why I want to sell their downloads as much as possible. But I also want to help them realize that there is a great living to be made if you use the tools that are in front of you in the right way. So if you're using streaming like you were trying to use FM to sell albums, you are going to die a slow and painful death.
Yeah, totally.
I hate it. It breaks my heart because I'm a musician and I've got tons of friends that just have lost their livelihood because they're not necessarily shucking and bobbing, right? They're kind of doing the same thing. But there are these people out there like one of my favorite examples is a group called Larkin Poe, LARKINPOE. It's two sisters, Coville sisters from, believe it or not, Calhoun, Georgia, who are now in Nashville. But these two young ladies are probably the best internet marketers that I know of. And I say marketers, you could say marketers, or you can say they care enough to interact with their fans because that's what they do. They make all these cool little videos. They just put a little iPhone out here, right? And one of them is playing the slide, and she is a monster. The other one's singing lead, playing guitar like she's, Eric Clapton. I mean, she's really, really good. They're both really good. But if they would have just waited and relied on their streaming income or their YouTube income, they really wouldn't be doing very good. But because they are so active and because they are so engaged with their customer base, with their fan base, they get invited all over the world all the time. Now, of course, we're in a weird time right now. Everybody is, but all of our cheese has been moved. But there are a lot of things you can do as a musician to make income in other ways, and I sure want to be that guy that helps these guys do this because streaming does not pay the bills.
You got to become a rat and chase that cheese is what you got to do.
You just gotta be smart about it. You got to be going, okay, the cheese is not here. What do I have to do now to do my thing?
To get it,
yeah.
Is there a live event service that Qobuz offers?
No, I'd like to do that. The thing with Qobuz is we are very specialty. We don't even do Atmos right now. We're doing 2-channel stuff mainly. There's a few sort of by accident surround cuts on. I think there's like 35
by accident, is it just
yeah. I mean, it was something that the
just happened.
Distributors, put in with those 17 million songs that we were. And so they end up getting ingested. But I mean, we've even got some MQA for that matter.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna stay on the Atmos stuff because I was listening to some of the Atmos stuff on Tidal, and I was like, started looking at the track list of the stuff they have, and they're like, they have all these like old tracks. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that Atmos back then.
Yeah.
What are you throwing you the mixes into the program, and it's saying, all right, put that up here. Like you guys
Probably.
didn't there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Better. Yeah, it'll get better. I think it will. It'll there's a market for them, and there is a market for it. And if you judge just by how much money that that the Dolby and Sony's got their 360 thing or immersive, when you think about the dollars that are being put behind this as a whole, even though we don't carry it, it'll be relevant either from now on or relevant like, Quad was relevant. I'm not a big multi-channel music guy, because you could have 100 recordings and to me one would be right. Because if you throw bongos behind my head, as soon as you do that, I'm out. I check out. That's not realistic to me. I want to hear, if I hear anything in surround, I want to hear the room. What would it have sounded like if these guys were up here and what's going on back here? What's going on back here is not a guitar over here.
No, it's crowd noise mostly.
There. Yeah, that's quad. And that to me, I don't like at all. But there will be there's a lot of marketing behind it, and a lot of people will be using it. Yeah. And I go, have fun with it,
That's
you're
awesome.
gonna say something?
I forgot.
Oh,
hey, if you guys do roll into Atmos, I'll definitely check it out. I think I think there's a lot of people that have Atmos systems now that they're watching a movie, and out of a 2-hour movie, they've got a minute and a half, if they're lucky, of something cool in Atmos. Whereas if you have a concert in Atmos, or even just like some of the stuff on the Atmos for Androids album, like they did that electronic music really cool, because, I'm hearing bleeps and bloops over the sides, and then, here comes the little whoosh, and it just kind of circles around you and goes up. And I'm like, what is happening? So it's just another way of, us being able to enjoy a system that we put together, spent all this time and money asking questions of like me, Mike, and Joe about all this nonsense, and they've got it. And now they're like, okay, well, that movie really wasn't that great in Atmos, but now I can listen to music in Atmos, and I'll hear some different effects, and it just get more enjoyment out of, all the money and time you put into your system,
Absolutely. And Atmos is just such a cool technology anyway. I think people should enjoy it as much as they can in as many ways as they can. There's nothing at all wrong with it. When I was a kid, I think I was like maybe 18 or 19 at the time. I bought a full-on quad system, and I sat there and I listened to that thing for like, 2 years with Frankenstein. You know what I'm talking about? Edgar Winter. Frankenstein. Dun, 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 dun. You know what I'm talking about? It's it's that stuff going all over the place. And I thought I was the coolest guy on planet Earth. And I probably was at that time. But then after a while, it's like then I learned how to listen to music. I learned what a soundstage was. I learned what depth of fill was.
Sure.
I learned about, where do things go. So that kind of took over for me, and I went full blown 2-channel at that point, and I've never really looked back.
I mean,
clearly
I
from
could
your
see the
desk setup. Yes.
of an Atmos setup, even for the people who aren't into it right now, just because you have more options of where you place something, or even where you place a mic. So right now, I think a lot of it is simulated, where they're recording near field. The mics are close by, and then they're throwing it into a computer program, and it's going to say like, if I place it up here, it's going to change the sound in such a way, and you want the room to be this big. All right, well, we'll add a little more to the rears. Versus like if you're actually have mics in different areas, that might be a different story. So I see the potential of the format.
So
I don't think people are utilizing it in that way, but I've heard a few mixes that were like, oh, okay, that's interesting. it's not overdone. It's not like the person's whispering behind your head or anything weird.
ASMR.
There's actually a process out there right now. You've probably heard of binaural. But
Oh, yeah.
There's a process now from a guy named Russ Ham. He owns a company called Sonic Presence. Russ was he's one of these guys that have been studying HRTF for eons, decades, head-related transfer function, and that's the theories and the math behind the way that we hear, right? So if you're speaking to me, the first thing that happens is a wave hits me here because it's closer than these are, right? So what ends up happening is the waves hit you here and then they kind of bounce around to your ear. The whole theory behind binaural came from that, because what they would do is they would get a dummy head, and they would bury microphones
in
right
the
here,
ears,
right?
yeah.
And it gave you this kind of almost a 360 thing, but it was a little weird because there was always a hole in the back. Well, there's this guy that just created this new process called Panaural. It's Russ Ham that I was telling you about. And believe it or not, this has actually got to do exactly, Joe, with what you were talking about with Atmos, but the way that I think that it's going to end up turning out. Because right now, if you're outside and a bird is chirping to your right, 30 meters behind you, 20 degrees up, you could pick up a rock if you were good enough and hit that bird, because you know where it is. You know where it is. Your body knows where it is. Your mind knows where it is. It comes from millions of years of evolution that we developed these techniques that our ears told us without our eyes being used where things are. That's the way I like to listen to surround. That's the only way I listen to it. So there's this guy, Russ Ham. In fact, I need to get you guys hooked up with him because you guys would freak out over him.
Oh, yeah. Sounds
Okay,
like
so he's got these little things going on. Do you see this on my ear?
Yeah.
So these are actually microphones that'll take up to 114 decibels. You can record this straight from your phone, right?
Okay.
And 2496, and you can do video with it. And no matter what happens anywhere around you, these microphones pick it up like your
From that direction.
head
Huh, interesting.
would have picked it up, right? And so now when you listen to surround on these, it will totally freak you out because it's all not what a director thought it should be. It's just what God thought it should be, right? It's
You're
like
right.
whatever's around you is around you.
What are those that are you showing there? What are those specific? What's the model on those?
They're called the VR15s, I think. I think it's the only thing that they've got. It's called Sonic Presence VR15, and they're only like $150. But you can record my drums with these. I mean, and not only the sound, but my point to your point, Joe, really, in kind of a roundabout way, was that they do record surround, but they record it exactly the way that you would hear it, not the way you kind of think that it might be if you were in a Foley studio. And
there they are.
that's them. Yeah. I am totally nuts over these things because I like to do recordings when I go to concerts, and so do most people. But when you start doing this kind of thing and you're at a concert, right, you're doing it, you're going, and it's just horrible,
garbage.
right?
Yep. It's garbage.
Yes, you do it with these, and it sounds like you're a professional recorder.
Really interesting.
What's in my shopping cart right now? It's hilarious. If you look at my shopping cart on Amazon right now, it's a dummy head and fake like realistic silicone ears, right? Because I'm planning to do more binaural recordings, because in my opinion, binaural sounds the most realistic. You know, so I can do a demo for somebody and let them kind of hear how speakers sound or something.
Joe, after this, you gotta get with me, and I'll get Russ to get you some of these things, because you really do dig it. But these you'll be able to have at least a reference point, another reference point. So here's what you get in binaural. I don't know how the heck we got onto this, but what you'll get into binaural is you're going to get a hole in the middle right in front of your face.
Yeah.
The reason that you get that is because HRTF has got it's over 100 years of research and development on this subject, but according to Russ, they got it just a little bit wrong. And if you bear with me, I'll show you how they got it wrong. So we want to simulate what goes in here, and it makes sense that you would put microphones in here. But here's what really happens: the signal comes up, you're recording it, you get all of the reflections, and then it goes into your ear. You're recording these reflections. You should not be recording these reflections because you're going to be listening back with your own reflection. Your reflection is not going to be like that dummy head. So what ends up happening, since the microphones are here, it simulates still the HRTF, but since you're not burying them in an ear canal,
you don't get that
not
reflection.
your ear canal, that you're actually
Gotcha.
recording that onto the what you're listening to. You're actually sort of double processing it. So you're listening to the ear that was recorded with, and then you're listening back to your own ear. That creates a hole in the middle.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
In-ear
So if you
monitors.
do panaural, like I was just showing you, these actually, you know, sit on top of your ears, like on your temples almost. Now you're not recording this part of your ear, right?
So
the only time this comes into effect is when it's actually being played back to you with your own ears. But your wife's ears are different than your ears, so she's going to hear that a little bit different.
Makes sense.
So,
That makes. I guess the only time is if you're using in-ear monitors. Now they're actually in your ear. So I guess it depends. And I'm hoping what you're saying about this, what he's doing is I'm hoping that you're saying that he's going to take the binaural and figure out a way to make that work on my Atmos system, like extrapolate out and make it work on my Atmos. That would be awesome.
yeah, you'll have to probably do it in some kind of a matrix because it is a 2-channel setup. But I got to tell you, I've never heard anything that records 360 like this.
There it is.
I already found it, man.
There it is.
He's like, there you go.
There
Man.
it is.
Joe will make him famous, man.
You want to take
Got
it?
it.
Or
Hey, I mean,
So
One
this
thing
whole
eight-
thing came about because we were talking about Atmos, and I'm going, okay,
That's the
I couldn't
closest thing to it.
resist.
Yeah. There you go.
This is what you have to. This, in my opinion, is what you have to record 360 the right way. I think this will be what records virtual reality and augmented reality as well.
gotta love that VR, man.
And
And
AR.
people are joking in the chat about how I'm already like buying these things.
And
And
he probably is.
I gotta take a buying freeze because my other synthesizer just came in today. So
Ooh, nice.
I'm prepping up to make those tracks before Q3 Hi-Fi Summit.
Q4 official. Hey, by the way, David, I called you. I don't know if you remember, but I called you to be at the Summit. I'm gonna put you on blast here, and you're like, all I know is when I go to Expona and Rocky Mountain, I go up the elevator. I'm seeing like all the floors, like floor sponsored by Qobuz. This floor, every floor is sponsored by Qobuz, and I'm like, you don't want to talk to me? What's up? Look at it.
Oh yeah, no. It's not I didn't want to talk to you. Do you know that there are? I have to try to pretend like I'm not busy all the time, because there are literally, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people that are making this whole thing work in the United States. So, Joe, got to tell you, no disrespect meant. I don't know where I was in my headspace at that point, but every single one of us are typically working from 8 to 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night. We just don't stop because there's just so much going on. So
Hung up on
I don't even know what was going on. That sounds like, wow, what an asshole. You wouldn't even, and I'm really not at all. I like talking about this stuff, and I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I think I got hung up on it. I don't know who it was by, but I was like, oh, okay. And then we got an email like, hey, would you like to have David Solomon on your pod? I'm like, okay. You want to be on? All right, let's go.
Yeah.
We will slam him.
What was it called, Mike? Something the chump? What is it called? Stump the chump?
Stump the chump.
Stump the chump.
That should be a new segment on the show.
David, please. What am
I
I
play it all the time, believe me.
I don't know if he can do it. He's probably all set up through an interface, so he's probably XR right now, and you want to hear the audio. And I don't even.
Actually, I can. I think I've got a set hooked up.
He's all high tech, man.
Fun. And he was just telling us before we got on that he's like lacking sleep, so I was like, hey, we'll keep it easy for you. Here we are.
Yeah, no problem. I don't mind doing this at all. It's kind of cool.
Now we're just having fun straight up.
These guys, and I don't think it's long enough.
And also, if you're able to hook that up, you're gonna have to change the cam mic on StreamYard to that.
To the interface, unless it's the same interface you're using with your overhead mic.
Oh yeah, no. It's the same. So this is, in fact, I'm not going to put them on because I don't have them close. I don't have these. My USB connection isn't close enough, so I'll just kind of hold them up just so that you can hear what they sound like.
The other question is, I don't know if StreamYard's stereo.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You'll at least be able to get you'll be able to get a feel for it, right? Okay. I think you will. So right now I'm on the really nice camera. This is probably a microphone. I guess if I had to tell you how much the whole little rig is worth, it's probably $300, $400, $500, $600, probably $600, something like this. And I'm about to switch off to some $149 VR15s. Tell me when you guys are ready. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go 3, 2, 1. I'm switching off now. 3, 2, 1. This is the VR15s.
Hey,
crispy. How about if you put them on your head?
He can't because it's too short.
I think I can. If you guys don't mind me getting out.
Yeah, go ahead. Get in our grill.
So sorry about this. And now it's going to make some noise. I was really.
You can even move your microphone out of the way if you needed to.
Let's see. Hold on. Now I can barely get my head here. Hold on.
Okay.
Not just like you said. I don't think this is stereo, but now they're on my.
Wow, that actually does sound clear.
Yeah, well, that's actually the way that they're meant to use. This is how they work.
So that's how you sound to yourself, kind of.
This is how I should sound to myself, including all of the cues that I get from left to right. Now I'm going to switch it back to the expensive.
Wow,
setup.
I like those. Those sound crispy, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that was awkward, right? David's like, I didn't know I was going to do that.
For the next Hamilton, that's all they need. You know, they're just going to get those.
That's right, on the back.
Actually, you know what? I could use that in my DJ stream because like that microphone I'm using, this silly Journeyman microphone, is a pain in the ass. Hate it. So yeah. Tell your boy if you want, you want somebody to test it out every Saturday. I'm there. Oh, he's got to change your microphone.
Yeah, you got to change your mic back. Let's see. Hey, do you want to take one call? Does anybody want to call? If you do, then we have a number. You can just go ahead and try it. We'll take one and then
check.
There you go.
Back.
Sorry about that, guys.
You're good. No, that was cool.
Crispy. I'm curious to see the frequency response though, because
it's crazy. It's DC to light kind of stuff. I mean, not really, but it's
down there.
Got all the frequencies built in.
I just need to make sure, some of them they cut off at 50. You know what I mean? I'm like,
no, these will go super, super low. No, they don't cut off early at all. Nor do they clamp down the high frequencies either. But the whole point, that really the reason I was showing you guys this is because I think in the future, this is the way things are going to be recorded. And really for gaming, they are now. You know how when you're looking at gaming is, gosh, that has taken on a life of its own. But when you turn your head like this, and now the sound is coming this way, you turn your head like this, now the sound's coming this way. That's the way it's realistic. That's the way I want to hear things mixed when it starts to be in surround sound. And I took like 45 minutes to talk about that's the way I think it's going to be in surround sound.
What were we
eventually?
The other night we were talking like 3 a.m. Like, hey, binaural audio. Chana's confused.
I'm getting a big echo. I don't know if that's from. I'm even hearing an echo with me now.
Echo?
Martin Logan's probably.
I can swap off again.
No, you're good.
I think it's good now. For whatever reason, it was just echoing pretty bad.
We have our number here.
Switching these mics.
Go for it. Let me see. Yep, we're set up here. If not, then that's cool too. That's okay. I know we said it kind of late. Boom, I have this on. Make sure I'm paying attention. So if you have a question, go for it.
Oh, I did see a question. Someone said that Qobuz is not available in their country. Are there any plans to expand the service to other countries there?
Yeah, we're going into like 6 more countries this year. We'll be going into Scandinavia. We're just about to open up Puerto Rico. It depends on where they're at, but yeah, we're opening up. We're really trying to expand the rest of this year. So we will be in more and more places. The weird place that we're not in, and we don't have a hard plan right now, which just totally breaks my heart, is Canada. I love Canada, and when you talk about music lovers per capita, Canada has more music lovers per capita than America does, for sure.
I think we have somebody on the air on the call right now. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hey, this is actually Josh. I just want to call and say hi to David.
Oh, hey, what's up, Josh?
Let's do it.
How's it going, guys?
Hey, Josh.
Great.
Yeah. So, yeah, what's up, guys? I'm David. I'm glad that you made it on.
Josh had high recommendations for your show, guys.
Oh yeah, they were loving it at the summit. Whew, it was a lot of fun having. So,
and it's good because they're participating. They understand, like you're mentioning the person last time.
Totally.
Like interacting. That's where it's at. You know what I mean? Take the opportunity to interact with the people who are fans of your products.
Yeah, and engagement's everything.
So what's up, man?
Engagement. No, just chilling, man. I'm here in New York City. It's hot as hell. We got the heat wave going on, but things are good. Just want to call in and say hi.
Awesome, man.
Always good to hear from you, man.
Joshua Dellinger.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so David, when you can start traveling again, we have plans.
Can't wait to get back up there. The World of Macintosh is maybe the coolest branding place I've ever seen in my life. It's just absolutely remarkable. The last time I was there, Josh invited us, and we got to see the kids of, check this out, Steven Still's son was there. I think his name is Chris Stills.
Chris Stills. Yeah.
Bill Withers' daughter was there. I'm trying to remember her name. Oh gosh, what was it? Doesn't matter. She performed. James Taylor's two of James Taylor's kids were there, and they are both incredible. And then one more. Who else was it, Josh?
Oh,
Corey Withers. Is that Corey Withers?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She is amazing. You would not believe that voice she's got on her. But these guys were all performing at the World of Macintosh in this huge room that they've got there. There was probably maybe 50 or 60 people there, but it was just unbelievable because all of their parents are like, they're my heroes, every one of them.
Yeah.
And so it was just so neat getting to hang out with them and talk with them and then listen to them perform. And you know, Josh gets to do stuff like that all the time. I tell him that he has got the best job in hi-fi. Have you guys ever been to the World of Macintosh in New York?
No.
Oh my gosh, you would not believe how cool. You feel like you're at the cool kids table when you get to go in there.
I've seen some videos. I think Shane did a video. I've seen some pictures too.
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
I think Joshua and them, they're planning when all this clears up, they're planning to fly us all out there and then Italy afterwards, right?
That's what I heard.
Yeah, you guys definitely need to come to Italy.
Oh yeah,
we're all going to Italy,
dude. I packed my bags at the HiFi Summit, so I mean, it's just
your wife packed the bags. She was like, "Let's go."
My kids are old enough; they can take care of themselves.
I remember that evening was so crazy, David, because like you were in the city for I think it was it the New York Audio Show or no it was the Can Jam, I think it was. You were in town And I called you. I was like, "What are you up to? We have an event going on. You should swing by." And I remember we were upstairs and we were chatting. We were chatting with some guys, and then next thing you know, we're sitting there chatting, and we're talking to the son of James Taylor because we were just bullshitting with him. And then he finally said who he was.
Ben.
And I was like, "Oh, that makes sense. You look exactly like your dad." It was just
His name was Ben, right? Wasn't it, Josh?
Yeah.
Ben, yeah. And her and her sister, Sally. That was James
Exactly.
Taylor's daughter. Yeah. And to hear them sing together, it was like, it wasn't the same, but it definitely brought me back to James Taylor and Carly Simon when they used to sing together, and that was just like a beautiful thing. So yeah, that was a very special night. Not only is the facility just unbelievable, the night was really, really special as well with all of the incredible music. But every time I've ever gone there, I've had just a great time. And Josh has got Qobuz playing all over that place.
Yeah. Josh, are you seeing all the comments?
Checks in the. No, I'm not. I'm not in front of the computer.
They're all related to Will Klein and how they co-marry.
It's back.
And honeymoon in Italy, so it's back. We'll ignore that for now.
And most of it's Tristan.
I'll make sure I pass it along to Will and his future love child.
Oh, Will. Will's my boy. I love that guy.
We have fun over here.
Will Klein's the best.
A little too much fun.
Well, cool, guys. Well, I just want to say hey, and
man.
Yeah,
always good here.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out for sure. Thank you, man.
Yeah, guys, have fun.
Hey, take care.
Take it easy.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that was great. He is a really neat guy.
You get to talk to your friends. You come on here, your friends call you from all over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we're over time. So I think we need an outro. What do you say,
David?
Stick around because I do want to talk to you about those
David, you gonna give us an outro?
Oh, I mean, I could do an outro. I could do it like an outro, but
you said you were going to give us an outro, David. They were wanting to hear it. Is it too late there?
I think it's just crazy. It is. Well, it's not that late, but I bother my neighbors enough without having to bother you. You guys have seen that thing. It's like you guys have seen that meme pop up. It says, "Can you believe it? My neighbor was banging on my door at 3:00 in the morning last night. I don't know what was going. Good thing I was still up playing my drums." Hey, listen, guys, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. You're all very gracious and really nice to have hosts like you. So thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Hey, we appreciate you having coming on the show. It was pretty awesome. You're a pretty fun dude. So hey, we're fun people too. So it all just works.
So next time you got to answer, you got to like kind of have a conversation with us when we call you about the HiFi Summit.
Yeah,
don't hang up on us.
If I was snubbing you, hey man, that wasn't the intent. I don't snub. I'm not a snubber.
All good. We're just having fun over here. So
yeah, we're just messing around.
Don't worry, we'll get you. I'll get you.
Oh, here we go.
Take us out, man. Oh, thank you. Oh,
everybody still wants you to play the drum.
Everybody wants it. Hey. Maybe next time. They
really want it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the Daily HiFi podcast. Again, we do this every Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on the Daily HiFi YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Daily HiFi. Get your daily dose of hi-fi, man. Yeah. Want a big shout out and thank you to our guest today, David Solomon from Qobuz. Hope you guys learned everything, and thank you guys, and thank you so much, David, for hanging out with us.
Dropping the knowledge, man.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
And we'll see you guys next week. David, don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Later.